Howdy and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
My God, she speaks. She hasn't quite worked this bit out yet. Last year I did a video where I went through the top contemporary Christmas songs and it seemed quite popular. Got quite a lot of views. The year before that I did my favourite Christmas songs, which included some stories and memories, even had some little animations and pictures. But I thought I'd continue on the tradition this year and do another list. This time, best and worst Christmas films. So let's get started. Being a pest. Now she wants Olaf. Leave Olaf alone. Well, this will probably be much like last year's video and get flagged for copyright reasons, but that's okay because all the people that make these films, whether they're good or bad, are creatives, and we like creatives because London creative, where I spend most of my time either doing something creative or being out and about in London, often with these two. So if you like that and you like London and you like creativity, remember to give this a thumbs up. Leave comments down below, tell us your favourite and least favourite Christmas films. Just remember to be nice, it is Christmas after all, and our opinions may not concur with yours, but they are just our opinions. So with that, some ground rules. Well, first off, we have a kind of, we say a Canadian or a sort of New Zealand kind of sense of humour. Very dry, dark, and usually sarcastic. Something that most American films don't really get. Or English films. They tend to be very repetitious and simple. Canadian and Antipodean tend to be a lot more subtle. So it kind of reflects in our tastes of good and bad films. So think more what we did in The Shadows.
What we did in The Shadows, the film TV show.
Yes, the TV show got Americanised and wasn't funny. Now there are millions of Christmas films out there and more released every year. And the Hallmark Channel does back-to-back Christmas films starting in August. But we're more about the big, well-known things. And we're not sort of saying Karate Christmas or Hulk Hogan's Santa with Muscles.
There's a film called Santa with Muscles.
Yeah, we'll leave them for another time. Or Losing a Dog. And she's off. We have Olaf instead. Olaf is still here. Say hello. Hello. So what makes a proper Christmas film? It has to involve Christmas. It can't just have a Christmas tree in the corner of a living room that happens to be passed once in a while. It has to be about finding the perfect Christmas present or getting home for Christmas or big family holidays and something that revolves around a turkey or presents or people or
Snow.
She spoke. With that in mind, there are 4 categories. We have the bad Christmas films, the not bad, worth a try, the non-Christmassy Christmas films, and of course the good Christmas films. As we've said, some of our choices for these categories may not fit yours, but let's go with it. So first up, let's start with a real doozy. Okay, now, she said that my rant is going to be a bit long, but this is a film. This is supposed to be the greatest Christmas film ever, but it is wrong. It is wrong in so many ways. It's kind of like a sci-fi in paradox on how time doesn't work in Vermont. White Christmas is... Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye have a show in New York, and they pack it up for the holidays, 3 days before Christmas. Just three. Danny Kaye's got this ongoing gag through the entire film, which isn't funny, which he just does this, where he hurt his arm in the army. Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye were in the army. They were way too old to be in the army. And Bing Crosby is actually older than the general that the film is all based around. So they go to see this show where Rosemary Clooney, George Clooney's aunt, and Vera Ellen are performing. You know instantly that they're going to be the love interest and you're staring blankly into like nowhere in land.
Trying to mimic the film.
Oh, right, we'll get to that in a minute. So, 2 sisters, Rosemary Clooney and Vera Ellen, perform this song, and then through a series of stupid events that aren't funny, they end up, the 4 of them, on a train to Vermont, where get off the train the next day, 2 days before Christmas. This is where the problem starts. And they discover that the general that they were in the army with owns the hotel. This little tiny hotel with like 4 rooms. They then decide to bring their entire show that's broken down for Christmas to Vermont and put the show on Christmas Day. 250 dancers, set builders, riggers, musicians, choreographers, everything. All made to go to Vermont 2 days before Christmas. Christmas is cancelled. You are going to work over Christmas. You haven't got a choice. So either that will be fired. So they'll get up on a train and are put up in this little tiny cabin in the woods. And they start rehearsing. And they rehearse and they rehearse and rehearse and rehearse. And this goes on for like a month. There's 100-foot high soundstage, more sets than any show ever has. This is massive, huge. There's flights of stairs and there's swings and there's lights and it doesn't make any sense. Then comes the night of the show and Bing Crosby goes back to New York, just pops down the road, goes on to a TV show and calls up every single person that's ever been in the army to go to Vermont and forget Christmas, sod their family, leave the kids at home, make them cook their own turkey, and turn up just so that they can all sit in this barn, in this little hotel, and stay there, and all get there without the general knowing, and there's a dog back. And so the 500 soldiers turn up, unbeknownst to the general, they're all staying somewhere, no? And there's a dog. Then this performance happens, and then they open the end of the barn and sing White Christmas. Now, there are only 4 songs in the film, and Sisters gets performed about 20 times.
1,000 times.
And White Christmas gets performed about 4 or 5 times. And Vera Ellen cannot sing. All her songs are dubbed by somebody else. She can dance, and she likes her legs, so she shows off her legs by doing this a lot. But that's not the worst thing. And this is where the drinking game comes in. Because you could play a drinking game so many times. You could work out how many days have passed. Every time everyone stops and then comes back.
You can leg and a leg wing like that.
Like that. Just like that. Vera Ellen's leg does that. So every time Vera Ellen waves a leg, you drink. Every time they stop and they go off and they come back for another day, they'll stop here. But the best one, the one that you'll get you absolutely hammered, every time Vera Ellen looks at the camera. Because she does not. If she's on screen, she just stares at the camera. And no matter what happens and everything dancing and all of this, she stares at the camera. She never turns. She talks to people like this. Oh, look, there's a Christmas tree over there. She just stares at the camera. I took my eyes off the camera. I would have fouled the Vera Ellen drinking game. Well, the problem is that this is always on at 8 o'clock on a Christmas morning. So start the drinking game early, just play the film through. By 10 o'clock, you won't even know what you got for Christmas. Because Vera Ellen stares at the camera. She shows off her leg. She can't sing. She's abysmal. Rant over. I hate this film. I don't like this film.
Why did you make me watch it then?
Because I watched it, having never really watched it all the way through, and then made Tora watch it, and we sat there and we both went, this film's stupid.
Oh.
Didn't we? We went, this film's stupid, didn't we? Yeah. This is going to be a short and sweet one. I asked my followers and people on Discord what their favourite Christmas films were and asked where they're from. And I got a ton of people just come through and go, Elf. But only one person of those a dozen people or so that said Elf is the best was in the UK. All the rest were in America. There's something about this film that Americans love that we don't. Will Ferrell. He's not funny. And this film has one joke, and you get that in the first 5 minutes. Will Ferrell is tall. That's it. That's the joke. It goes on and on, and it's repeated at least 100 times. Will Ferrell was tall. He's not an elf. He's stupid, but that's not funny. If you like this film, you probably still like the Three Stooges. That is so outdated. Why is this funny? This is a bad film. Yeah, people watch it. It's very, very much kids' humour. But most kids don't watch this. They probably get bored of it after 10 minutes of hearing the same joke. Do you want to say it? You tell them. Tell them about National Lampoons. The National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. What's good about it? Yeah, nothing. This is on the same level of stupidity. It is outdated. It's very bad and it's not funny in any way. Just don't get it. It's what? It's
slapstick, but it's like a carry-on slapstick.
Calamity, chaos, and everything that can go wrong will go wrong. Some films, and we'll come to them in a bit, actually can do it and do it kind of funny in that. This just does the same joke in variations over and over again. Yeah? Bad Santa. Basically, Lauren Graham, who will forever be Lorelei Gilmore, cannot pretend to have sex. I don't know if this might be what she actually sounds like when she has sex, but it's like, oh, it's cringy. Is it cringy? We watched up to the sex scene in the car, and I think we gave up. This gets listed on all of the great Christmas films of all time.
This is kind of what you do if you watch it.
This is what you do, you fall asleep. Yeah, we lasted about 15 minutes and then just was like, this is bad. It's not funny, it's just cringy. We don't do cringy. Cringy is not a good thing. The Polar Express. Tom Hanks plays the conductor of this train. Polar Express was done when CGI and green screens and that with a new technology. And it was uncomfortable. People were staring off and just like going, oh, hello, how are you? And the person would be standing there. And it's animated and it's drawn over and it's peculiar. It's a problem.
I think it's like a radio show. You can listen to it like that, but I can't say
like a podcast. It's probably better that way because then you don't get distracted by the weird like lighting effects and colours and weird animation that's drawn all over the picture. The Polar Express podcast, available on Spotify. And the Santa Claus is much like Elf in so much as it's the same sort of joke over and over again. It's better. It's not great. The biggest problem with it is Tim Allen is a TV sitcom actor who got a role in a movie. And he kind of does that thing where he'll tell a joke and then pause, waiting for a laugh. But he's on a film, so he's not going to get a laugh from the studio audience. Oh, I didn't realise that was eggnog.
Is he slightly orange?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't really remember very much other than he was orange. Oh, and he laughs at his own jokes.
Yes, he laughs at his own jokes, so he's very definitely, yeah. Likewise, similarly, Deck the Halls is neighbours at war at Christmas, and it just becomes a fight for who can be the most stupid. The only positive of this is I can appreciate how petty neighbours can be and how much noise they can make. I don't think I could have queued that if someone shouted that loud. Talking of animation and things like Polar Express, the snowman. Why? Why is this made? It's weird. It's animated, looks like someone's drawn the whole thing with colouring pencils. The music is abysmal. I can't go that high. Aled Jones can't go that high anymore. It was a 10-minute animation made into a full-length film, and it gets broadcast on the BBC every year without fail. It's terrible. Now, last one for the bad section. And this is one that we disagree on, and it's why it's on the end of the bad section, because it could be in the alright section. For me, Love Actually is just too cringy. It's really uncomfortable. It wasn't even meant to be a Christmas film until they were actually in production. They actually started making it, and then they put in Christmassy stuff. But you like it.
It's not like amazing, but it's not horrible.
But do you think it should be in the bad films section?
No.
What's good about it?
Well, it's got a pretty decent cast, minus Bill Nighy.
Nighy. Bill Nighy's one of those people who kind of does one thing.
He plays an absolute dick.
We saw him in Soho last year.
And he was an absolute dick.
He was horrible. He was right sitting there going, I'm Bill Nighy. So
I don't see how it wasn't supposed to be a Christmas film. It's all centred around Christmas.
They changed the premise of it. The script was written, it was just meant to be a
No, I mean obviously like
there's
so many different storylines in that movie that you're only interested in a select amount of people. You're not interested in the entire storyline.
But you're meant to be, that's the
You're
problem.
not. You're supposed to have a story that you follow, that you want to know more about. That's the hinge. So you end up being like, oh, I want to know what happens to these characters. Don't care about any of the rest of them.
Yeah, but it's just uncomfortable. That your review of Lavender.
Get refreshed.
To be jolly, fa la 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 la.
After vacationing
That's
across
what it
America
does.
and
It
throughout
repeats the
Europe,
same thing.
Take it, Russ.
National Lampoons. It just repeats over and over, randomly out of nowhere, just repeats for no reason. Not bad, worth a watch. This is the sort of where we disagree at times, and some of these films have been put in here because we're so popular in the Discord conversation and actually had good reasons that they've been moved out of the bad into the, well, if you say so kind of category. And this first one is very much of that category. Home Alone. Home Alone?
I don't really like it.
More than, come on, use
It's not
your
funny.
words.
Thing is it's probably by now it's been done so many times with different movies since.
Copying it.
Copying it that you've got so used to all of it that watching the original is now like, wow, right, this
That
is
joke, yeah. You do realise, though, I think most people are on the side of the baddie. They want to see Kevin die. That would be the Christmas present. The burglars being stupid is only funny once or twice. You would know not to walk down the steps because the door's open. You'd know that it's going to be covered in ice. Also, they would be dead within 10 minutes. They get smashed over the head with an iron and thrown down a flight of stairs.
Onto tacks
And onto a pitchfork. They would be dead. This kid would be up for homicide and he'd been locked up for killing people in really spiteful and vicious ways. It's not a horror film. It's meant to be funny.
Could be remade into a horror film. That might make it better.
Yeah, maybe. I'm sure Macaulay Culkin would probably be up for doing it now as the evil version of himself, the slightly deranged, locked in his own house. But as a film itself, it's not funny. It's also John Hughes, Breakfast Club and St Elmo's Fire and all of that lot. And then he made this, Bridget Jones. Now, I was doing about Bridget Jones at first, but I watched the trailer for her and went, oh yeah, forgot about that. You like Bridget Jones, yes? This is not a review. It's a review. We have a blog where we write reviews. Tora's reviews are, talk.
I am
Let's
talking.
try this again.
Stop bossing me about, douchebag.
Bridget Jones.
Why would you put that in the bad?
Because I kind of had it as a cringy film.
Yeah, but it's like that border. It's cringy, but it's not cringy.
Yeah.
It has moments of being cringy, but it's like a realist cringe. Like, those things could actually happen.
The fight scene between Hugh Grant and Colin Firth is probably one of the most realistic fight scenes you'll ever see. Because there's no like Krav Maga and like people going, no, there's a guy throwing a bin over somebody else's head. It's scrappy and it's stupid and it ends up with everyone watching it. They just end up passing out. So yeah, not bad. Metropolitan came out in like 1990 and I made Tora watch it a few years ago. It's odd. It's slow and it's dry and it's quite serious. There's moments of dark humour in it. It's about a group of urban haute bourgeoisie, which if you've seen the film that makes sense, which is a group of rich trust fund babies in New York doing the Debs ball season, going from one ball to another and then going on to parties and drinking. And one kid who's hired a tuxedo for one event and then going on and eventually he makes some friends and it's interesting, but it's a strange way of making a film and it's a strange thing. I read an article on Vanity Fair and it's kind of like a rite of passage film. Everyone's gone on to be in other things. They're still really good friends and they've remained friends from that film more than they've remained friends with people from school. It is a film about camaraderie and being there for each other, etc. It's a late night on Boxing Day film. You don't remember it at all?
No, I'm not watching it again.
How do you not know it was good if you don't?
No, I don't need to.
Why not?
Because if you thought it was long, it was really long.
It's slow. It's not
No,
slow. It's kind of an indie almost. It's got no music.
Definitely good.
Random one. Someone suggested this last year and we watched it and we were like, this is going to be bad.
It wasn't bad. It was actually
really good. It was actually kind of good. Anna and the Apocalypse is a zombie horror Christmas musical. I mean, what more do you want for Christmas? Zombies, musical, Christmas, killing people in Scotland.
Killing family members.
And the music, usually when you get musicals, and quite often like low budget musicals, all the songs sound the same. This, when it started singing, you're like, oh, this is going to be good. And it was like, that was quite a good song. The next song starting, you're thinking it's going to be the same song, just change the lyrics. No, it is good. It is well worth it. It is odd and different, and we would recommend this. We should probably watch this one after Christmas. 1, 2, 3. Just 3 bits of sticky tape. 3. 3 bits of sticky tape. 3. That is all we've really taken away from this entire film. It's kind of the same premise as Elf. As Arthur is in the Santa's grotto and he's going to be the next Santa or something. We can't remember, it's been so long. But all we remember is the elf wrapping a bike up and using just 3 bits of sticky tape with a Scottish accent.
She's Scottish? I thought she was Irish.
Or Irish. She's Celtic.
Something that doesn't make any sense to me.
She has great difficulty with accents. British accents, because I can't understand her sometimes when she talks full Australian. So, 3 bits of sticky tape. It's a cartoon, it's funny. Next up, The Holiday. I had this on DVD and I'd completely forgotten about it. And then when I was doing this list and going through things, Tora said, "What about The Holiday?" And I was like, "No, I didn't like it." And she went, "You had it on DVD." So I looked at it and I was like, "Oh yeah." Cameron Diaz, who I'm not a big fan of, and Kate Winslet, who I'm not a big fan of, and Jude Law, who you like, and Jack Black,
Who I don't really
who you
like.
don't like. But somehow in the combination it works. And it's also got Eli Wallach in it, who was an old actor, and I think he often played cowboys, but I think he died soon after this. But he was cool. It's what happens if Airbnb did Christmas. You literally throw a dice and hope that you get Cameron Diaz's house in California and not Kate Winslet's broken down cottage in Wales.
It wasn't broken down. It was just cold.
It was cold and tiny, and the toilet didn't work.
No, it did. It was so small, and she was used to being in a huge place.
Yeah.
And then she suddenly went to somewhere where it was absolutely freezing cold. There was only a fire. There was no radiators.
Yeah.
The bath and the plumbing went cold, and you had to wait for the heating to kick in.
So yes, it's better than I remember it. It probably will be something I have to watch again at some point. Trading Places. Happy Christmas and Merry New Year! Dan Aykroyd is a trader in the city in New York and Wall Street, and Eddie Murphy is a street homeless hustler kind of guy. Dan Aykroyd's girlfriend's uncles, the Duke brothers, have a bet for $1 that they switch the two over, Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy's characters. It's the thing of what Elf doesn't do. It has jokes, it has funny, it has moments with really cringy, but it's really kind of clever and quick and witty, and this is a good film. Also, apparently this was a big thing. I was too young to know this when it came out. You get to see Jamie Lee Curtis's boobs. If that does it for you. Okay, well, we were going to run this through in one go and do the whole thing, but this is taking long enough, so we're going to stop this here and we'll come back for part 2 next time. So look out for that, and I hope you like this so far. Part 1, the bad films and the not so bad films. If you did like this, do give this a thumbs up, and like that, see, she knows what to do. Leave comments down below and hit the subscribe button and come back for more, which next video will be part 2, the non-Christmassy Christmas films and the good stuff. Until then, bye. Howdy and Merry Christmas. You have to speak.
Oh.
It helps if you speak, hence the part of the video having audio. Ready? Third time lucky. A doozy. Well, I don't know. Doozy. It just means a really bad one.
It's a doozy.
It's a what?
It's a doozy.
What did that mean?
It's a good one.
It's a doozy.
Oh.
There's this whole thing of like this big age gap and whatever, but age gaps aren't a problem.